Have you ever felt that as a Muslim woman, there are not enough Islamic programs out there dedicated to just you? Have you ever had questions run through your mind about your role as a Muslim woman, your rights and responsibilities, or just general matters? Just Us Women is a program dedicated to you, the Muslim woman. Islam Life Radio has tailored Just Us Women to meet the needs of our Muslim sisters in order for them to gain authentic knowledge. Our host and teacher for this program, Ummu Maahir Ismaa'eel, will deliver and expand your minds on various topics related to women's fiqh, motivational talks, and how to be among the best women to earn Allah Azza wa Jal's pleasure in this life and the next, inshaAllah. So be sure to join us every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with Just Us Women, brought to you by IslamLifeRadio.com.
Have you ever thought about what it takes to know the ledge? People say, know the ledge. What does that exactly mean? Well, let me see if I can sum it up for you in a short poem. Now is the time to show greatness and uplift. With knowledge and wisdom, we share the ultimate gift. We recognize our Creator who provides and sustains us, who gives our life balance and constantly maintains us. Our broadcast to the people is molded by truth. For the men and the women, and especially the youth, we reach out to those from all walks of life, no matter where you come from and no matter the type. Our goal is quite simple, and that's education and unity. With a smile and the salams, we embrace our community. There is no secret to success, just a desire to learn, because the blessings of Allah is what we seek to earn. So lend us an ear and bring an open mind, and be cautious, not careless, and be aware of the times. All it takes is one slip if you're living on life's edge, and unfortunately some fall because they don't know the ledge.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Are you experiencing a difficult situation? Going through stress, anxiety, confusion, or even depression? Perhaps something's troubling you and you don't know who to ask and where. Maybe you've done a sin and you don't know how to deal with it to make everything better and redeem yourself. You might even be wanting to consider marriage and have someone in mind, but don't know how to take the matter forward in a halal way. Are you looking for advice and guidance, which is also Islamically sound and authentic? If so, then your prayers have been answered. Islam Life Radio is now offering a free, confidential, anonymous, impartial, and non-judgmental counseling service based on the Quran and authentic Sunnah. Email us now at counseling@islamliferadio.com.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Sallallahu ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala sahbihi wa sallam. Assalamu alaikum, dear sisters. Welcome to part 14 of the series Fataawaa al-Mur'ah. In this segment, we continue with questions regarding hijab, dress, and beautification. And we begin with the question regarding the hijab of a young girl. So, the standing committee, the Lajna, were asked, what is the ruling concerning the young girls who have not reached the age of puberty? Is it allowed for them to go without covering themselves? Can they pray without wearing a head cover? So the scholars of the standing committee responded by saying it is a must that their guardians bring them up and teach them the manners of Islam. They should tell them not to go outside unless their bodies are covered. This is in order to avoid any temptation and to get them used to the virtuous manners so that they will not be a source of spreading evil. They should be ordered to pray with head coverings, and if they pray without it, their prayers are sound. This is because the Prophet ﷺ said, Allah does not accept the prayer of a female who has reached the age of puberty except if she is wearing a khimar, a head covering. And this was recorded by Imam al-Tirmidhi, Imam Ahmed, Abu Dawood, and Ibn Majah. Again, this question was answered by the Lajna, the scholars of the standing committee. Now, we take a question here that was posed to Sheikh Ibn Baz regarding the hijab of an elderly woman. So the Sheikh was asked, is it allowed for a woman advanced in age, say 70 or 90 years old, to uncover her face in front of relatives who are not mahram. So the Sheikh responded by first bringing the verse. Allah states, as it is interpreted, and as for women past childbearing who do not expect marriage, it is no sin upon them if they discard, meaning their outer clothing, in such a way as not to show their adornment, but to refrain is better for them. And Allah is all hearer, all knower. So the Sheikh then explained, so there is no harm if the menopausal women who are not seeking marriage and are not displaying their adornments uncover their faces in front of non-related men. However, for them to remain covered is still better, for Allah has said in the verse, but to refrain is better for them. This is because some of them, when they are seen, may be a source of temptation due to their beautiful faces, even though they are elderly and not displaying their adornments. However, if she is going to be having adornments such as makeup and jewelry, she may not take off her outer covering. Having adornments includes beautifying the face with kuhul and so forth. So again, this was answered by Sheikh Ibn Baz rahimahullah. The Sheikh was also asked about the hijab of a female servant. So the question that was asked of him is it necessary for a female servant who works in the house to wear hijab in front of her employer? Then Sheikh responded by saying, yes, she must wear hijab in front of him, and she may not display her adornments in front of him. Also, it is forbidden for them to be in private due to the generality of the evidences. This is because if she does not wear hijab or she displays her adornments, she will be a source of temptation for him. Similarly, being in private is an opportunity for shaitan or Satan to make them alluring and tempting. Then the standing committee was asked about the female servant. We have a Muslim female servant who performs all of her religious obligations except she does not cover her hair. Is it obligatory upon me to instruct her in this matter? The ulama responded by saying, it is obligatory upon you to order her to cover her hair, face, and the remainder of her body in order to be away from temptation and the spreading of evil. And then Sheikh bin Baz was asked regarding a Muslim woman who does not wear hijab in front of non-Muslim women. So the Sheikh was asked, we have non-Muslim female servants in our house. Is it obligatory upon us to wear hijab in front of them? Is it allowed for me to give them my clothes to wash and then I pray in them? Is it allowed for me to explain the falsehood of their religion to them and to explain the distinguishing features of our pure deen? So the Sheikh responded by saying, first, it is not obligatory to wear hijab in front of them. They are like any other women according to the strongest of the two opinions among the scholars. There is no harm in them washing your clothes or utensils. However, it is obligatory to put an end to their contract because they have not embraced Islam. This is because in the Arabian Peninsula, it is not allowed to have anyone except Muslims. Only Muslims may be hired in this peninsula, regardless if they be workers, servants, or whatever, regardless if they be men or women. This is because the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam ordered that the polytheists be expelled from this peninsula, and that there not be left two religions herein. This is because it was the cradle of Islam and the place of the rise of the message. It is not allowed except for the religion of truth, the religion of Islam, to be left in this peninsula. May Allah grant Muslims the following of truth and steadfastness in it. May Allah also guide the others to enter into Islam and leave what goes against it. Second, he said, it is sanctioned for you to call them to Islam and to explain to them its excellence. You may also show them what is wrong with their religion and how it oppresses the truth. Also explain to them that the law of Islam abrogates all previous laws. Tell them that Islam is the religion of truth that Allah sent all of his messengers with, and by which were revealed the books. Allah has said, and this is coming in Surah Al-Imran, verse 19, truly the deen in the sight of Allah is Islam. And also in Al Imran, verse 85, that is interpreted, and whoever seeks a deen other than Islam, it will be never accepted of him. It will never be accepted of him. And in the hereafter, he will be one of the losers. He will be among the khasirin. The Sheikh went on to say, however, you have no right to speak about that except on the basis of knowledge and understanding. Speaking about Allah's deen without knowledge is a great evil. And then the Sheikh brought as an evidence from Surah Al-A'raf, verse 33, as it is interpreted, saying, the things that my Lord has forbidden are illicit acts, whether committed openly or secretly, sins of all kinds, unrighteous oppression, joining partners in worship with Allah for which He has given no authority, and saying things about Allah of which you have no knowledge. So then the Shaykh went on to explain further, Allah has put the gravity of speaking about Him without knowledge above all of the acts mentioned in the verse. This indicates how greatly forbidden it is and what a great sin it is. And then the Shaykh brought from Surah Yusuf, verse 108, as it is interpreted, say, this is my way. I invite unto Allah with sure knowledge, and I and whoever follows me must also invite with sure knowledge. Glorified be Allah, and I am not one of the idolaters. In Surah Al-Baqarah, Allah states that speaking about Allah without knowledge is one of the actions that is ordered by Shaitan, Satan. And he brought the verse from Al-Baqarah, verses 168 and 169. O mankind, eat of that which is lawful and good on the earth, and do not follow the footsteps of Shaitan. Verily, he is to you an open enemy. Shaitan commands you only what is evil and sinful, that you should say against Allah what you do not know. And then the Shaykh completed by saying, I ask Allah for me and you support, guidance, and goodness. Now, from the standing committee, a question regarding the ruling concerning wearing hijab in the presence of the son-in-law. So the scholars of the standing committee, the Lajna, then they would ask, some women wear hijab in front of their son-in-laws and they refuse to greet them by shaking their hands. Is this allowed for them or not? So the ulama responded by saying, the son-in-law is a mahram for the woman due to marriage. It is also allowed, so it is allowed for him to see of her what he can see of his mother, sister, daughter, and other mahram women. Covering her face, hair, forearms, and so forth from her son-in-law is a type of extremism in the religion. Refusing to shake his hand when meeting him is also a kind of extremism. That may lead to hard feelings and cutting off of relations between them. Therefore, she should not be extreme in this matter unless she has some suspicion about him or she does not like the way he looks at her. In that case, what she is doing is acceptable. Now, Sheikh bin Baz, rahimahullah, was asked concerning a woman riding with a non-mahram chauffeur. So the Sheikh was asked specifically, what is the ruling concerning a woman riding into town alone with a chauffeur who is not mahram to her? What is the ruling concerning a group of women riding in a car with a driver who is not mahram for them? Sheikh bin Baz, rahimahullah, responded by saying, it is not allowed for a woman to ride alone with a driver and nobody else present, as this is considered the same as being in privacy. It is confirmed that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, a man cannot be alone with a woman unless with her is one of her male relatives. A man cannot be alone with a woman unless with her is her mahram. And the mahram, again, are her male relatives. And the Prophet ﷺ also said, a man is never alone with a woman except that a shaitan is the third of them. He said, however, if another man or more is with them, or one or more other women is with them, then there is no harm in that, as long as there is no room for any suspicious activity. It is no longer considered privacy when there is a third or more present. This is for cases other than traveling. As for traveling, he said, a woman may not travel except with a mahram. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, a woman does not travel except with a mahram. This is recorded by Al-Bukhari and Muslim. It makes no difference. It makes no difference whether that traveling is by land, air, or sea. Now, Sheikh bin Baz was asked concerning a woman who does not act as a concerning the fact that a woman does not act as a mahram for another woman. So he was asked, can a woman be considered a mahram for a woman she is not related to for purposes of traveling or sitting with others? So Sheikh Ibn Baz, rahimahullah, he stated, a woman cannot be a mahram for another. The one who is considered a mahram is a man that a woman cannot marry due to blood relations, such as her father, her brother, or a man related to her due to marriage, such as her husband, her father-in-law, and her stepson, or a man related due to breastfeeding, such as her father from breastfeeding, and so forth. He went on to say, it is not allowed for a man to be in private with a woman he is not related to, nor can he travel with her. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, a woman does not travel except with a mahram. This was recorded by Al-Bukhari and Muslim. And then he said that the Prophet ﷺ also said, a man is never alone with a woman except that ash-shaytan thalithuhuma, the devil is the third of them. And this was recorded by Imam Ahmed and others from the hadith of Umar with a sahih chain. Then Sheikh bin Baz was asked regarding is it correct that a person will be held accountable on the day of resurrection for what clothing he wore? Then Sheikh responded by saying, yes, the person will be asked about his wealth and where he acquired it from and what he spent it on. This is stated in a hadith. So pay attention to this, to our sisters who are working in questionable occupations. Think about this. A quick comment here. If a particular act is impermissible in Islam, then it is impermissible to be employed concerning that particular act. So if it is impermissible to drink alcohol, it's impermissible to sell alcohol. If it is impermissible to consume drugs, it is impermissible to sell drugs. If it is impermissible to be involved in riba, interest on checking accounts, interest on loans, interest on any form of banking whatsoever, credit cards, and so forth. If it is haram to be involved in interest, then it is a haram to be involved in the interest system. That would mean, sisters, be cautious of your employment. If it's haram to be involved in these transactions, then it is haram to assist in the transactions. So if you are working in the banking industry, then I strongly advise you to look for further employment. It may not happen overnight, granted. It may not, we got that. It may not happen overnight, granted. However, your intention should be to get out of that industry and get into an industry that does not involve the haram aspect of interest. Checking accounts, banking, credit cards, all of these forms of where they're attaching interest, then because why? He said here, the person will be asked about his wealth and where he acquired it from and what he spent it on. So we will all be questioned about our wealth and how we earned our wealth. If you're a thief, if you happen to be as we know them in our neighborhoods in America, a booster, this is an individual who goes out into the retail stores and steals their clothing and their products to resell them to other people in the streets and whatever. If you're making your money from stealing, your money is haram. You will be asked about that money. If you're running scams, it's haram. You're going to be asked about how you earned that money, where you acquired it from, and then what you spent it on. So if you sisters are earning your money legally, you're a teacher, whatever, a nurse, whatever the case may be. You're earning your money lawfully. However, you're spending your money on alcohol. You're spending your money on cigarettes. You're spending your money on drugs. You're spending your money on cable TV. Be careful. Cable TV, she said. That's a bit extreme. Think about it though. If you're going to bring that haram into your household through that television, and yes, everybody has a computer, sisters, we got that. You can go on the internet and get anything on the internet. We got that. But to pay extra for some odd hundred of channels of haram and shirk, when practically every station is haram and shirk, this is questionable. At the very least, it's questionable. So if it's questionable, why pay for it? Why involve yourself in it? Why risk being asked about it at all? So let's move on. And certainly all success is with Allah. No one's preaching here. We're just reminding because the reminder benefits the believers. And maybe we weren't even thinking like that. Perhaps it didn't even cross our minds. So since it has been brought to our attention now, we want to seriously look into the affair. Don't just turn it off and keep it moving. Look into the affair, because as the Sheikh said, Sheikh bin Baz said, yes, the person will be asked about his wealth and where he acquired it from and what he spent it on. The standing committee was asked concerning the ruling wearing tight clothing and white clothing. So they were asked specifically, is it allowed for a woman to wear tight clothing? Is it allowed for her to wear white clothing? The scholars answered by stating, it is not allowed for women to be in front of non-related men or in public streets or marketplaces while she is wearing tight clothing that describes her body to anyone who looks at her. This makes it like she is naked and stirring temptations. It is a cause for great evil. She also may not wear white clothing because in our country, white clothing is something specific and recognizable for men. In that case, she will be resembling men, and the Prophet ﷺ cursed those women who resemble men. Let's look at this a little more closely in terms of the outer garment. Okay, so he said that it is not allowed for women to be in front of non-related men in the public streets or marketplaces while she is wearing tight clothing that describes her body to anyone who looks at her. This makes it like she is naked and stirring temptations. So then here comes a warning, a reminder regarding this swing, what some people are calling the swing overgarment, which is in reality an oxymoron. Because the swing dress, if you go and look up a swing dress in its origin, it is a tight-fitting dress. So it is not an overgarment. It's a I caution my sisters to go online and Google it. Look up swing dress, and you will see that it is originally a dress that is tight fitting at the waist, and then it flows out into a big round bottom. This is why it's called a swing. We're gonna rename it the swing overgarment when in fact it's a swing dress. So be careful, sisters. If you are wearing this, and it is easy. It's easy to get caught up, especially when you're young. It's easy. You older sisters, you should know better. Straight out, you should know better. Anybody 30 years up and older should know better. And we're talking 40 and up. Come on, sisters, you should know better. But our younger sisters, we get caught up. We're not paying attention. That's why we older sisters play such an important role in how we present ourselves, so that the younger sisters can learn from us by looking at how we carry ourselves. So let's think about this. This swing overgarment that's tight fitting at the waist is also fitting around the bosom area. So the bosom, you can see the outline of the breast. You can see her waist size. You can see her hips. This is not an overgarment by any stretch of the imagination. This is not an overgarment. So think about it. The Sheikh said that this sister is naked. So if we go out into the streets and we have on long, flowing, wide as can be overgarments, but the wind, Allah says that we're not responsible for what the wind might show. So if we go out and the wind hits us, and then our overgarment is showing, that's not something that we intentionally did. That was an accident. But now you bought an overgarment and you can barely get it over your hips. And you put that overgarment on and you went outside. And if you look into the mirror, you honestly look into the mirror and say to yourself, I see a little bit more back there than I should see. Then you need to discard it. Get rid of it. It's fire. You're flirting with the hellfire now. Because, come on, some of us are built a little bit more than others in certain areas. So we're responsible now to try our very best to acquire the overgarment that is closest to the sunnah. This is the true aba'ah, not this thing that's made like a coat that comes from the shoulders. However, if we do find a khimar that comes from the top of the head and then flows over the shoulders in a wide manner, coming down to like the knees, covering over the breast in a wide manner and the buttocks in a wide manner, then this is something acceptable even if you have on that shoulder coat. But not to put on that shoulder coat and then tie something around your head and call that hijab, sisters, please be careful. This is very dangerous. It's a very dangerous affair. So we're looking now at anklets. What is the ruling concerning wearing anklets? Sheikh bin Baz, rahimahullah, was asked, what is the ruling concerning wearing anklets in front of one's husband only? And he responded by saying, there is no harm in wearing such in front of one's husband, women, and mahram men. That is because it is a type of jewelry that a woman wears on her legs. One more time, there is no harm in wearing such in front of one's husband, women, and he said mahram men. And again, because this is a type of jewelry that a woman wears on her legs. So be careful, sisters. If we're questioning wearing anklets, what about the dazzling ornaments all over the khimars? What about brooches outside of our outer garments? Is it permissible to wear a brooch, to wear decorative pins, and to add on to the outer garment to what? Adorn it? Be careful. This is not permissible. This falls into the ruling of tabarruj, adorning and dressing oneself up and then going out before men. This is could be considered tempting, because why else are we dressing up? What are we dressing up for? Looking now at the ruling concerning a woman cutting her hair. So Sheikh bin Baz, rahimahullah, was asked, I hope that you will help me concerning cutting my hair from the front of it in a certain style wherein the hair sometimes falls down over the eyebrows of a Muslim woman. Is it allowed or not? May Allah reward you. And the Sheikh responded by saying, I do not know of anything wrong in cutting a woman's hair. It is not allowed to shave all of it off. You cannot shave off the hair of your head, but you may shorten its length. I do not know of anything wrong with that. However, that should be done in a good way that is pleasing to you and your husband. You should agree upon how it is going to be done. Also, it should not be an imitation of the disbelieving women. If you leave it long, it makes it more difficult to wash it and to tend to it. If it is long or thick and a woman cuts it short or layers it, there is nothing wrong with that. Or she may cut part of it short to make herself more beautiful to herself and her husband. I do not know of anything wrong with that. However, one may not shave all of it off. This is not allowed except in the case of some disease or problem. So then he has made this very clear in terms of how a woman can cut her hair. Let me just go to a benefit here. He said that it should be done in a way that is pleasing to you and your husband. You should agree upon how it's going to be done. he said how it's going to be done. So before you go get your hair cut, sisters, you should discuss that with your husbands. He has the right to know before you do that. Discuss that with your husbands. Also, looking at here, he said, also it should not be in imitation of the disbelieving women. That when we cut our hair and even style our hair, we shouldn't be trying to get the latest look that's hot right now that the non-Muslim woman is wearing. If that style is, if a particular hairstyle is out of style, it's not the latest Beyonce look or whoever is wearing that look right now, then that's fine. But to take a picture that one of these celebrities is wearing and take it to the hairdresser and say, I want my hair like this. This is unacceptable in Islam. This is unacceptable in Islam. This is not legal in Islam. And furthermore, I personally feel it's degrading because I don't see any non-Muslim woman I want to look like. To be perfectly honest about it. I'm perfectly comfortable in the skin I'm in. So we should have that attitude that we're fine with who we are. And so bottom line, getting the hair cut is not an issue at all. You can cut the hair, but with conditions. One, you cannot shave it all off. Okay? Again, you need to check with your husband before you get your hair cut. And then after that, make sure that you're not doing it just because some celebrity on Instagram or whoever just got her hair cut like that and it's all the rave. To see a Muslim woman with have her hair shaved off, who was it? Rihanna, one of these girls, had to have her head shaved. No Muslim woman should have been imitating that. And it was ugly. But no Muslim woman should have been doing that just because they saw one of these girls that's on television using that hairstyle, wearing that hairstyle. How about the ruling concerning wearing a wig? So then it was asked. To the standing committee, what is the ruling concerning a woman wearing a wig in order to beautify herself for her husband? So the scholars responded by saying, each spouse must beautify himself or herself for the other in a way that is pleasing to the other and strengthens the feelings between the two. However, this must be done in a way that is within the limits of the Sharia and is not forbidden. The wearing of a wig is something that began among non-Muslim women and became a popular way for them to beautify themselves. If a Muslim woman wears one and beautifies herself with it, even if it's just for her husband, she is imitating the disbelieving women, and the Prophet has forbidden that. And he said, whoever imitates a people is one of them. Whoever imitates a people is one of them. Furthermore, they said, it takes on the same ruling as artificially adding hair to one's hair. The Prophet ﷺ has forbidden that act and curses the one who did such. They stated it takes the same ruling as artificially adding hair to one's hair. So that right there, sisters, lets you know that weave is also impermissible. Weave is impermissible, regardless of what kind of material it's made from. If you're adding it to the hair artificially to give the impression that you have more hair than you have, this is impermissible. Look at the statement now coming here. The ruling concerning shortening the eyebrows, letting fingernails grow long, and using nail polish. So regarding this issue, Sheikh bin Baz rahimahullah was asked, what is the ruling concerning shortening extra eyebrow hairs? So also, what is the ruling concerning letting fingernails grow long and putting on fingernail polish, given that I make ablution before putting them on and it stays for 24 hours and then I remove it? And then third, he was asked, is it allowed for a woman to wear hijab without covering her face when she travels abroad? So the Sheikh responded by saying, number one, it is not allowed to remove or shorten eyebrow hairs. It is confirmed that the Prophet ﷺ cursed the one who has them removed and the one who removed them. One more time, the one who is having it removed and the person who is doing the removing, both occurs. He said the scholars have stated that the hadith is in reference to those who remove eyebrow hairs. Number 2, letting the fingernails grow is something that goes against the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said, from the acts of nature are 5. Now from the fitra, which is being translated as the acts of nature, this is called the fitra. Then from the fitra are 5: circumcision, removing pubic hairs, trimming the mustache, cutting the nails, and plucking the hair from the underarms. So the Sheikh wanted to explain, it is not allowed to leave them for more than 40 nights. This is based on the hadith of Anas, who said that the Messenger of Allah alayhi salam set a time limit for us for trimming the mustache, trimming nails, removing armpit hairs, and removing pubic hairs. They cannot be left for more than 40 nights. Letting them grow long resembles animals and some of the disbelievers. Again, he said, letting them grow long resembles animals and some of the disbelievers. And then he also said, as for nail polish, it is better to avoid it. One must remove it when making ablution, since it prevents water from reaching the nails. So the question was, wearing this nail polish for 24 hours, not needing to make a wudu. So what the Sheikh said was, he said it is better to avoid it altogether. But he said one must remove it when making ablution, since it prevents water from reaching the nails. Now remember, the nails are a part of the fingers, and the fingers are a part of the hands, and we have to make wudu on the hands. So if you're wearing nail polish for a particular event, you're going to be there for that event, and then remove the nail polish. Let's say you're going to Isha, you got a nail polish, you remove it after that before you pray to make your wudu, then this is okay. Because again, you only have to remove the nail polish if you need to make wudu. Because why? The nail polish will prevent a proper wudu. It will get in the way of the proper purification. Now, third, it is obligatory for women to wear hijab in front of non-mahram men, both inside and outside of the country. Allah has stated in Surah Al-Ahzab, and when you ask them from behind a screen. That is pure for your hearts and for their hearts. So then Sheikh bin Baz wanted to say, this verse refers to the face and the rest of the body. In fact, the face is a distinguishing part of the woman, and it is her most alluring aspect. And then the Sheikh brought the evidence from Surah Al-Ahzab, verse 59, where he said, O Prophet, tell your wives and your daughters and the women of the believers to draw their cloaks, meaning their veils, all over their bodies. That would be better that they should be known as free, respectable women, so as not to be annoyed. And Allah is ever oft forgiving, most merciful. Then from Surah Nur, verse 31, tell the believing women not to reveal their adornments except to their husbands, their fathers, their husbands' fathers, and so forth. The Shaykh concluded by saying, this verse indicates that hijab is obligatory upon a woman both inside and outside the country, in front of the Muslims and the non-Muslims. It is not allowed for any woman who believes in Allah and the hereafter to be lax in this matter. As such, is an act of disobedience to Allah and His messengers. Furthermore, he said, it leads to temptation regardless if it be in or outside the country. We now turn to a question that was asked of Sheikh bin Baz regarding circular shaped gold jewelry. So the Sheikh was asked, what is the ruling concerning circular shaped gold jewelry? This is like a round bangle or something like that. So the Sheikh responded, he said, the Sheikh said, it is permissible for women to wear either circular shaped or non-circular shaped gold jewelry. This is based on the general meaning of the verse from Surah Al-Zukhruf 18, verse 18, when Allah said, do they then like for Allah a creature who is brought up in adornments, wearing silk and gold? This is interpretation here. Wearing silk and gold ornaments, meaning women, and in dispute cannot make herself clear. The Shaykh went on to explain, Allah has mentioned that wearing jewelry is a characteristic of women. This is general and covers gold as well as other jewelry. Furthermore, Ahmed, Abu Dawud, and Nisa'i record with a good chain from the leader of the faithful, Ali ibn Abu Talib, that the Prophet ﷺ took silk in his right hand and gold in his left hand, and he said, these two are forbidden for the males of my nation. These two are forbidden for the males of my nation. So that was regarding silk and gold. The Sheikh went on to say, in the narration by Ibn Majah, it ends with, and permissible for its women. Again, and permissible for its women. Also, he said, Ahmed and Nisa'i and Tirmidhi, who said it is Sahih. Abu Dawud and Al-Hakim also call it Sahih. Al-Tabarani, Ibn Hazm, who again said it is Sahih. All record from Abu Musa al-Ash'ari that the Prophet ﷺ said, gold and silk have been made permissible for the females of my nation and forbidden for its males. So you say to yourself, what is the big dispute here? Actually, there was a difference of opinion that arose several years back between some of the ulama, whether or not it was permissible for women to wear gold bangles. But we find here that the scholars of the scholars, the Grand Mufti of Saudiya, may Allah have mercy upon him, Sheikh Ibn Baz, Rahimullah, makes it very clear here that gold jewelry is permissible for women, whether it is of a round shape, a circular shape, or otherwise. Now, Sheikh Bin Baz was asked about the ruling concerning high-heeled shoes. And he was asked, what is the Islamic ruling concerning wearing high-heeled shoes? So Sheikh Bin Baz responded by saying, the least that can be said is that it is disliked. First, it is a kind of deception because it makes the woman look taller than she is. Second, it is dangerous for the woman because it is easy to fall in them. And third, he said, it has negative health consequences, as the doctors have concluded. So at the very least, he says, it is disliked. It is disliked. So he went on to explain as a kind of deception. So be careful, sisters, walking through the streets in high heels. Be careful walking through the streets in high heels. The Sheikh pointed out, it's dangerous. It's dangerous. Furthermore, it's deceiving. It's deceptive. It makes you look taller than you really are. And think about it, sisters. When you wear high heels, and I know because I was a non-Muslim before I was a Muslim. I did not become Muslim until I was 25 years old. So, being a non-Muslim, I wore high heels. And I know that when you wear high heels, you have a certain walk. When you walk in high heels, your walk is changed when you wear high heels. You even sway wearing high heels. So be careful, sisters, because these high heels cause you to sway and swing as you walk through the street. This is absolutely forbidden for the believing woman. It's very unbecoming for the believing woman to swank and sway through the streets like a prostitute. Be careful wearing high heels in the streets, sister. Be very careful wearing high heels outside of your home or designated events. If you're in a sister's luncheon or something like that, you want to dress up in a sister's luncheon, at the very least is disliked. But to go out into the streets and amongst males in the streets, strange men, or you're working in jobs with men, which we should not be doing, by the way. However, forced in America, you may be forced to work amongst males. This is the reality of our situation living in the West. We got that. But then, if we know that we have to go on amongst these people that are not our mahram, then guard your chastity, guard your haya, guard your modesty. Another point I want to look at is that the Sheikh said, one more time, regarding these high heels, he said that it is a kind of deception. It is a kind of deception because it makes the woman look taller than she is. How often do we get this question floating around because it was a big style amongst the non-Muslim women to wear yarn weaved into the hair. To wear yarn weaved into the hair like braids and so on and so forth. We received this question how many times regarding this yarn. At the very least, is you are imitating. I'm going to go back to what I mentioned earlier, that you are adding into the hair. I know I commented, but I'm going to stress it one more time because again, this question comes often about this yarn. So we're imitating the non-Muslim women. Okay, this is where it came from, and then we are pulling off a kind of deception. Because now when you have all that yarn underneath of your khimars, your hair, it looks like you have more hair. So if a brother is really interested in you, now he thinks that you have more hair than you really have. You don't have that much hair. But underneath of there, it looks as if you have thick hair with that yarn under there. So it's a kind of deception. So beware of wearing the yarn weaved into your hair. It's deceptive. And it's adding into making you appear other than you really are. And it's imitating the non-Muslim women. So that's enough in itself to avoid it altogether. Right or wrong, the argument on the right side, the left side of it. When in doubt, leave the matter altogether. We would rather wake up Yawm al-Qiyamah on the safe side. We don't want to get up Yawm al-Qiyamah and find out that this was haram. It is something we never should have been doing. And though we were warned about it, to be careful of it, we ignored the warning. One more time, everyone who will be thrown into the hellfire, pushed into that fire, will be asked by the keepers of hell, did no warner come to you? Did no warner come to you, Ukhti? And she will say, yes, a warner did come to us. But we said they were lying. We said they were nothing but liars. Be careful. Because they're going to end up saying, have we only listened or used our intelligence? So with that stated, sisters, we come to the end of the program for today. Alhamdulillah. Again, sisters, I really want to express my appreciation for you continuing to tune into our program and to support all the programs at Islam Life Radio. I ask Allah to write as a benefit for myself and for the administration and all of those who help out at the radio station, and also for all of those who are sharing the talks that are now found on the YouTube station for Just Us Women at Islam Life Radio. I'm so appreciative. I really appreciate it, and I ask Allah to reward you tremendously for doing so. For certainly you sharing the reward for spreading this knowledge, for spreading these fatwa. None of these fatwas are my fatwas. These are coming from the legitimate ulama, scholars of Islam, Sheikh bin Baz, Sheikh Uthaymeen, rahimahullah, Sheikh Ibn Jibreen, rahimahullah, and the standing committee. So for you to continue to share these, this is a great benefit for us and for our ummah and for yourselves. So I ask Allah to make it heavy in your scale of good. Ameen. Anything that I have said that is incorrect, and certainly from myself and shaitan, I ask Allah to forgive me for that. And if you have found an exception to anything that I've stated, please contact me through email or through Facebook or Islam Life Radio. You can find me on Facebook, Ummu Maahir Ismaa'eel on Facebook. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can find me on the YouTube, or you can go through Islam Life Radio itself to contact me. But please feel free to contact me if you have any concerns over anything that I have ever said. And with that stated, sisters, Subhanaka Allahumma bihamdik, ashhadu an la ilaha illa ant, Astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Exalted are you, O Allah, and all praises for you. I bear witness that there is no true God except you. I ask your forgiveness and I turn in repentance to you. Ameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.